So this is just me in all my glory. I don't care. I'm in the middle of doing 100 different things at one time, trying to get stuff up and running, and so it's crazy. Also trying to factor in my own spirituality and meditation and just self-care routine on top of taking care of my daughter and just my training stuff. It just, there's a lot going on for me, so I apologize if I'm scattered, but this is just the way it's going to be for a while. So I just want to get some videos out there. I want to start talking. I want to start putting my stuff out there, my information out there, in hopes that people, it resonates with people and it helps people. So today I'd like to talk about, I really don't have a list of things to talk about, but as always, relationships are always a hot topic. It's a big topic. It's something that I'm super interested in. It's something that we're all involved in. It's something that's important in life, connections, relationships, love, all that stuff. So I definitely have a deep passion for it. I'm definitely I'm just interested in it all around. I've been studying this stuff for years, and I'm trying to apply it into my own personal life. So I'm starting to see what works, what doesn't work, and the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway when it comes to relationships, if anybody like wants to know what's the secret, it's just to be yourself, no matter what. Be yourself with your family, be yourself with your kids, be yourself with your partners, be yourself with your friends, be yourself at work. Just be yourself. I don't believe in putting on fronts. I think that's you're not being true to you when you do that. When you're not being true to you, everything else starts to go out of whack. So number one thing when it comes to relationships in general is to be yourself. So I really want you guys to focus on that. I want you to focus on taking care of yourself, loving yourself, knowing who you are. And it takes time for you to get to that place. You know, sometimes you have to go through hard times to find out who you really are, and that's okay. That's just life. That's part of the journey. You got to take the hits sometimes, and that's just the way it is, and that's okay. But yeah, definitely if you're going to take anything away from today, I want you to take away the fact that it's important to be authentic. It's important to be real. It's important to be yourself in any type of relationship. Don't put up fronts. You have to know your boundaries. You have to know your limits. You have to know what you're able to accept. You have to understand who you are at the core. And you have to know, you have to know your boundaries, and that takes time, takes practice, it takes trial and error a lot of times, and sometimes the best lessons are learned through, and the best growth, it's learned through the worst times in your life. And so just always, when it comes to relationships, whether they're good or bad, there's always something to learn about them and in them, and there's always room to grow. So but I want you to be yourself no matter what. That's the biggest thing. Because if you can't be yourself in a relationship, what are you doing? What are you doing? If you don't know how to be yourself in life, what the hell are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, that makes no sense to me. So, but I'm gonna get into some self-care stuff. So that's something right now that I'm trying to, how do I explain that? So I've been playing around with this stuff for the past few years, and things changed when my daughter came in and stuff like that. And then for a while, even before her, I was having issues with that. You know, my one of my brothers died, and anyway, that doesn't know the story, and doesn't know me, my brother passed away. I went through a lot of stuff when I was younger, and everything leading up to his death. Just kind of, once that happened, I was just like done. Like, I was just done. I just went off the damn rails. I didn't even realize what was happening at the time. I thought I was processing the death and grieving properly and doing all that stuff. But the reality is that I wasn't. I ran from a lot of stuff for such a long time. A lot of my own issues, a lot of the pain and hurt that I went through in life, and just holding on to all this stuff that wasn't doing anything for me. So, but after he died, for a good, I want to say for a good 5-6 years, I went off the deep end. I didn't do drugs. I wasn't doing anything like that. Nothing crazy like that. It's not like I wasn't robbing banks. It was nothing like that. I didn't kill anybody, but I was self-sabotaging myself in the worst ways, and I was engaging in toxic behavior, just being super angry and aggressive, and just wanting to, just hating myself, hating everybody, not wanting to kill people, but saying I wanted to kill, like I just wanted to kill somebody, like I felt like I just wanted to kill somebody. I didn't, obviously, and I was never going to, but I just was just in such a bad place, and I didn't realize how bad I was until, I don't know, it just, over time, it started to really wear on me, like that anger and hatred, because I didn't understand where it was coming from and why it was happening after everything that I went through and everything I thought I got through and all that stuff. And I didn't know why it was all happening. And it just kind of, once I got pregnant with Shane, I knew, like a little bit before that, I knew stuff, like something was off. Like I knew I wasn't feeling great. Something was going on. There was a bigger message that was trying to get through to me, and I didn't want to listen to it, and I kept ignoring the signs and the red flags, and just all these things that were going on with me. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to deal with it. I was running from it. So I isolated myself a lot, which I'm known to do that. I've always been known to do that, and I still do it now, because it's important. I'm not running away from my stuff anymore, but it is important for me to have my alone time. I take pride in it. I need it, and that's just the way I am. But as in terms of isolating myself to run away from stuff, that is no longer happening with me, which is a great thing. That's a good thing. So I'll stand and I'll face this stuff. I mean, I always did. It may have taken me a while to do it at this stage in the game after my brother died, and I fell off the wagon in a sense, and it took me a little while to get back on track, but I mean, I did. So, but when it comes to this awakening, I'm going to be talking about spirituality a lot. I feel like I was always a spiritual person. I had to go through those phases, the religious phases and all that stuff, and try to understand what I really believed. And, it's a journey, so it's not like I have it all figured out. I don't, nobody does, no one ever will. But I will say this, spirituality is super important, and I noticed that in society in general. Like I don't want to say I was the outcast, but I definitely never subscribed to society or societal norms, and I never did, and I never will. Now, of course, there are rules, there are laws, certain things you just need to deal with and you need to do when you're dealing with the human experience. It's fine. That's just life. I don't necessarily think it's reality, but that's life. Spirituality is more reality, and so I'll be talking about that more. I'll be taking you on my own personal journey, and hopefully it helps some of you to come into your own, and to come in to get back to who you really are, which is spirit at the end of the day, and unconditional love and all that stuff, source energy, all that stuff. But there was, after my brother died, after he died, so yeah, I went a good 5-6 years or so, and it wasn't until, like, stuff was leading up to me reaching certain points in my spiritual journey, but I didn't really start changing things or trying to change things and realizing stuff until I got pregnant with my daughter, and because I knew I didn't want to put her through the stuff that I had to endure when I was younger, and my brothers had to endure when they were younger, and everything with our parents and our family situation and the dysfunctionality of all that. And so I knew I needed to, because at that point I was like seething and stuff with anger and rage, and I didn't want to do it. And I was just in pain and I was hurt. That's all it was. And definitely lacking love and self-love and all that stuff at that time. And I just knew how the effects that all those things, those chemicals, that stress in your body, I knew that was going to affect her, and I couldn't let that happen. So I really started to calm down more while I was pregnant with her, and doing all the right things and eating the right way and all that stuff. And, at the end it got a little crazy, so I started eating more than I should have, but that's just pregnant women. It's what we do. We have cravings. I was eating bagels and stupid stuff like that, especially near the end. I was eating saltier foods and stuff, but ultimately, overall, I did pretty well during the pregnancy, and so I was able to calm a lot of stuff down. I wouldn't say I necessarily let my stuff go at that point, but I definitely I was able to calm myself down. And then it happened again. So I got through the pregnancy, did well with that. I was still like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I feel like I'm going to end up doing this on my own, which I am. And it's not easy, but I'm doing it. It's fine. I know how to take care of myself, so I'll be fine. She'll be fine. But it's just, I knew it wasn't gonna work out with her dad and stuff like that. And so I needed to figure out what the hell I was gonna do. So after I had her, I ended up nursing her for over 3 years. So I did 3 years and 2 months, and she would have kept going if I didn't make the decision to do a water fast for 18. I did 18 and a half days or whatnot, and she would have kept going. And I was like, I've got to stop. I can't do this anymore. It's I feel I'm getting angry again. I'm getting upset. I'm stressed out. I need to work out. I'm not working out. I'm putting everything I'm not taking care of myself. I'm doing everything for my daughter, and I'm making these sacrifices, and that's fine. That's what I should have been doing, but I should have been taking care of myself as well. And I didn't feel like I had a partner that was allowing me to do that, and I wasn't pushing for that. So I just wasn't feeling good. The nursing, especially initially, the first 6 months or so, and I already knew it was going to be hard, but it helped. I was so calm. I was calm. The nursing was helping. I wasn't depressed or anything. It helped me. It helped her. So it calmed me down a lot, and I'm happy that I did it. I wouldn't take it back for the world. Now, what I wish I would have done differently is I wish I would have, especially during that time, I wish I would have taken better care of myself. I wish I would have known at that time that it was okay to take a step away, to go work out, to go walk, go be by myself for a little while. But as a new mom, and me wanting to do all the right things, and just remembering the experience that I had when I was younger, I didn't want to put her through that. So I just was really just too crazy with it, and I was still avoiding the work that I needed to do personally. And it wasn't until, I would say, so I already knew that her father and I weren't going to work out, and I knew that I was going to get to a point where I was going to have to do this on my own. So we got to that point, and as hard as it was, I'm so grateful for it. I'm just in such a better place in my life, and just at peace with myself with all of that, and knowing that it happened so I could get her, and I learned a lot through that. And even though we weren't compatible, we weren't meant to be, none of that, that's fine. I knew that from the very beginning anyway. I'm sure he did too. But it happens. This is what happens in life. But it wasn't until we separated that. It was a little bit before we started separating, when I was like, I need to take care of myself, because if I don't take care of myself, and I don't know how I don't know how I'm gonna get through this breakup if I don't take care of myself. So I started taking care of myself little by little, and leaving her with her dad, or leaving her at the gym so I could go work out and focus on myself for a little while, a couple of hours a day. And I got back into MMA, which was great. I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful I did. I finally got back, because I took such a long break from it, and I didn't know if I was ever going to go back, but there's just something that was telling me that you need to get your ass back into the fucking gym, and I fucking did it. And I apologize for cursing, but I fucking did it, and I'm so grateful for it. Because I knew that was my saving grace. I was like, I know I love this shit. I know I'm meant for it. This is what I'm built for. It's just it was leading me up to this. And yeah, I may be 34 years old. That doesn't matter at all. And it's just something I'm just so passionate about. Even if I never compete again, even if I never fight again, it's fine. I love training. I need to do it for myself. It aligns me, my mind, body, spirit. It aligns me completely, and I just get such satisfaction from it, such joy from it. And I always did when it came to sports, and I knew I needed that. So I did after that breakup, or like right before it started happening, because I knew it was happening before it happened, and I was trying to prepare myself for that. And so what did I want to say when it came to that? So that's when I really started seeing things from a different perspective, and I really started taking stock of my life, and the stuff that I went through, the stuff that led me up to this point, the stuff that has led me to where I am now. And it has I stopped running from my stuff. I knew I needed to, and I knew I had to. If I was going to end up being successful and happy and find healthy relationships, being in healthy relationships, being around healthy people, being around people that are positive, I knew I needed to make a change within myself. And I was that person when I was younger, and so I was just coming back to myself. That's all it was. And I found my way back, and I'm getting strong. I keep getting stronger. Like, I was always strong when I was younger and stuff. Had my moments, fell off the wagon, lost my way a little bit. Happens to everybody. But I have found my way back, and I'm not going to let this go for anything. And I'm going to continue to grow and keep growing as a person, because one, I need to. Two, I'm going to be able to teach people how to do all this stuff. And three, I want that great life. And I'm not saying I don't have that now. I do. I absolutely do. It's just you want the whole thing. You want to experience life in its entirety, and that's what I'm going for right now. That's what I'm shooting for. So I'm very excited about that, and it's been a process, but I've come a long way. I mean, I've just been, I just look back on all the, like, I talk about time that I've wasted and all that stuff. I don't look at it like that anymore. And I don't look at it like that anymore. It was a growing experience. I learned more about myself, my strengths, my weaknesses, and I think that's important going forward in dealing with people and dealing with yourself and dealing with life in general. I know what I need to work on, and I'm slowly starting to work on things that I really was afraid to work on and look at and think about and just deal with. And I'm doing it. I'm doing it now, and it's still, there's times where I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to deal with it. I just don't want to deal with this. Or am I slipping back? Am I going back to stuff that's not good for me? And there are times where I feel like I slip a little bit, but it's not a slip. It's just you're clearing out what is no longer necessary, what no longer works for you, or what never really did. So clearing out bad habits. And that's what I'm working on now. So that's what I really wanted to talk about when it comes to like habits and your foundation and self-love, self-care. So for the longest time, or for that period of time there, 5, 6, 7 years or whatnot, it was probably like more like 5. Even before that, though, I started noticing things like I loved working out and doing all that stuff, and I knew about healthy eating, and then I learned about clean eating, I learned about fasting, learned about all this stuff, played around with a bunch of stuff, and I knew about all that stuff. I know what I need to do and all that. But there are times where I'm like, okay, or I'm not in a good headspace, I need to figure this out. But I slowly started seeing that even if you don't feel good, like, and you don't have to do, like, because I was an emotional eater for the longest time. A lot of people are. That's what a lot of people turn to, or people turn to drugs and alcohol, partying, whatever. Anything to escape the reality of their situation, when all they really need to do is sit down with themselves, go within themselves, and just sit and try to pick apart the stuff and do it with a positive mindset. And it took me a long time to get out of that negative state. So I don't like to talk about, it's funny because I was going to school, I always thought I wanted to be a therapist, and I'm not saying I'm not going to be one or I'm not one. But the traditional route when it comes to therapy is not something that I subscribe to. I don't care about medication. I don't care about prescribing that to people. I don't care to put labels on stuff, like, because at the end of the day, when you're putting labels on stuff, the reality is, when it comes down to it, and okay, some people do have chemical imbalances. There are some people that are just so far gone and are never going to, at least in this lifetime, are going to come back to themselves and realize the stuff that they were putting out into the world really had everything to do with them and nothing to do with anybody else. So there are some people that will never reach that stage in their life where they take accountability or responsibility for themselves or their lives, and they just go around blaming people, and they stay insecure and do all that stuff. There's certain people that have chemical imbalances, and there are certain people that are just not going to do the work, and that's okay. That's on them. At the end of the day, they have nobody to blame but themselves when all is said and done. But so I don't like dealing with labels anymore. For a while I did. I was like, oh, that's what this is. That's what this is. But at the end of the day, which I always felt anyway, was the fact that you're just running away from your problems. So you need to face your demons. What is it that is causing you to have this diagnosis or this label or whatever? You're depressed, you're this, you're that, da da da. It's all about energy. So if you're putting out negative energy into the world and you're depressed, guess what? You're going to get more of that. And then you're just going to keep putting that into your reality. You're going to keep creating that reality for yourself. I would know. I did it myself. I always said, it was funny because, I felt like my parents were depressed. They would have these highs and lows and all throughout my childhood. And my brothers, I don't just say me too, because my brothers were affected as well. So I like to say my brothers and I, but they went through bouts of depression and all that stuff. Reality is, they were continuously running from their problems. Now, I apologize, Mom and Dad, but this is my life story. It's something that I need to get out into the world. So I do hope that you are working on yourselves, like I keep telling you to do. But so no offense, but at the same time, this is my life story, just the way it is. Face your demons. So I keep coming back to that. People are just not facing their demons. They keep trying to, well, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? You're not facing your fucking demons. That's what's wrong with you. You need to figure out how you're going to do that. And you need to stop running from yourself. You need to stop blaming other people for your problems. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what happened to you. And people used to say this to me all the time, especially when I was like really mad and angry and stuff, and just putting that stuff out into the world. And what I was getting back was, well, you just stop reacting, stop responding. And I wasn't realizing that I kept running from all that pain and hurt. Like I felt like when I was younger, I was being vulnerable. I was trying to talk about stuff, but nobody was listening to me. I didn't feel like I was being heard, and nobody was listening to me. So over time, I just started to shut down, and I would internalize all of that hurt and that pain, and I didn't feel like I was able to voice my opinion because I was around people that were dysfunctional and toxic, and they didn't know how to communicate and voice their opinions and feelings and hurts and pains and all that stuff. They didn't know how to talk, and so how the hell else was I going to learn but to go through life the way I went through life? And it's just, I did learn, and I'm still learning, and there's still things that I need to tweak, and I'm never going to be perfect, and I know that, but I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep trying to do better. I'm going to keep trying to do better, even if somebody says something stupid to me, which I haven't experienced that in a very long time, and it's just because I let shit roll off my back. Like, even if somebody does say something, or I may react at that time, then I'll go back home, and I'll look at myself. It's not even necessarily, I'll look at the other person, and I'll know where they're at too, in their headspace. I already know where you're at, so it's fine, but I'll look at myself like, okay, how can I better deal with this situation? What am I doing? What are they triggering in me? What is it that I need to work through? And I haven't found all those spots yet. I'm still working on that. I really am, and I'm doing my best to do that, but I've gotten so much better at it, and I'm not reacting anymore for the most part, and I will respond more than anything, or I won't say anything, and I'll just go back and try to use it to make myself better and to help myself grow, and that's only going to make me stronger at the end of the day. So no, anybody's opinions about me, like, no offense, I don't give a fuck. Like, that's your opinion. It doesn't mean I feel that way about myself. So, and that's where I want everyone to be. I want everyone to feel that way, because at the end of the day, you are all you have. You are really all you have. And if you cannot look yourself in the mirror and say, damn, you are fucking amazing, you're awesome, you're special, I love you, you're beautiful. If you can't say that to yourself, and you're not your number one fan, you're fucked. I hate to break it to you, but you're fucked. You need to figure that shit out. You've got to be on your team. If you're not on your team, how do you expect anyone else to be on your team? So, and even if nobody is on your team, it doesn't matter. You still need to be on your fucking team. If you're on your own team and you're right with God or source, energy, all that stuff, you're going to be fine. Trust me. But yeah, coming back to the self-care part. So what I'm struggling with now is, so crazy stuff went on. I don't want to talk about too much of it because until later on down the road when I'm more comfortable talking about it. It's not like I'm not comfortable now. There's just certain things that I'm trying to accomplish right now, and I don't need everybody knowing my business. So I just don't feel like it's important for me to discuss it right now, but I will at some point. I most definitely will, just not now. But so broke up with my daughter's father. All this crazy stuff was happening. I knew it was gonna be a fucking roller coaster. It's not like I didn't think that, but I also knew that I was going to depend. The outcome of it all was going to depend on how I was responding to it and how I was feeling and all that stuff. So I knew that no matter what was going to go on, the craziness that was going to happen and all that stuff, I knew I needed to stay calm within myself, and I was able to do that. But so now I'm at a place now where, okay, we got past the craziness, we got past the really hard part, we got past the separation, everything that comes with that, finances, all that stuff, co-parenting or parallel parenting, all that stuff. Went through something else, medical stuff, had to go through all that by myself, did that during COVID, had to deal with all of that. So I got through that, the worst part of all that stuff. So now I'm at this space where, so I've been playing around with self-care stuff in my routine for a while, and it's not that I'm avoiding it. I just feel like there's so much stuff, like there's so many things that I want to do, and I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm trying to get different streams of income going on, and it's been it's been crazy, but I'm finally at this point where I'm like, all right, I have to fucking do it. There's no choice. I need my freedom. I like my freedom. I can't deal with jobs. I can't deal with 9 to 5s. I haven't had a fucking 9 to 5 since for over 10 years. I'm not going back. So I'm just dealing with work stuff, dealing with a lot of stress when it comes to work and financial stuff, and I'm trying to figure it all out. And this has been the scariest part for me, is the financial stuff, because I grew up poor. My family did not, I don't come from money. So that's been a big issue in my life, and I'm now trying to deal with all that stuff, and it hasn't been easy. So now my self-care routine, I'm just noticing all these things that I'm doing, what I'm not doing, habits, patterns I'm trying to break, all that stuff. I notice my energy levels going down. I'm not saying that you're always going to be up, you're not, but it's important to try to keep your ass up there. You need to stay high. You need to stay up there. And the way to go about doing that, and I'm trying to do this in my life, and I know what it is that I need to do, and now I need to stick with it because I know what fucking works for me. I played around enough times in my life to know what works for me. So bottom line, and you have to figure out what's going to work for you, but bottom line, and this is the basis for anybody, this is going to work for anybody, so you need to figure out what it means to you, but this is what's going to help you ultimately. You've got to people need schedules. I believe in flexibility. I love being flexible. I like being open. I like having time slots to where I'm not fucking doing anything. I have time to go figure out what I want to do, or I just don't do anything, or I do what I want to do. That's important. So definitely open to flexibility, but people do need structure. Not so structured that they're just they're overworking themselves and they're fucking doing all these activities with their kids, and you're distracted.